Welcome to NCIX Tech Tips. Samsung has created quite the lineup of Galaxy Android devices. Today we're going to be looking at the newest members of their Galaxy tablet family, the Galaxy Note Pro and the Galaxy Tab Pro. So for those of you not familiar with Samsung's Galaxy lineup, let me offer some clarification. Samsung, in their infinite wisdom, has decided to brand both their phones and tablets that include styluses Galaxy Note, while the ones that have no stylus are called Galaxy Tab. So just kind of watch out for that and watch out for the screen size, because if it's smaller, it just might be a phone. The Note series is oriented towards pen computing with their included stylus pens and pressure-sensitive Wacom digitizers that is much higher end than even the stylus inputs of many other devices. And today we've got the Galaxy Note Pro and the Galaxy Tab Pro. The Pro part is really important here. Samsung's focus for these devices on productivity and business applications really permeates the entire design philosophy of it on both a hardware and a software level. So let's start with the Note Pro. The first thing you might notice about this one is the massive screen. It is a 12.2-inch screen with a 2560 by 1600 resolution. That is a 16 by 10 aspect ratio to give you a little bit of extra vertical room when reading in a landscape orientation. To put that screen size in perspective, that is 50% more surface area compared to other 10.1-inch tablets, which is kind of the old standard when it comes to larger tablets. This tablet is more like a 13-inch Ultrabook at this point in terms of size and in terms of, well, really usability, because it has some pretty interesting I/O. But first, let's take a quick tour around the device. On the front, it has a front-facing 2-megapixel camera, an IR receiver, menu, home, and back buttons, and of course, that beautiful screen. This thing is amazing. There's almost no color shift, even going to an extremely extreme angle, and actually I really like it. Very, very striking. On the back, we've got an 8-megapixel camera and a leatherette finish that, much like the Note 3, the phone Note, okay, much like the Note 3, has a bit of grip to it on the black version, but is actually quite slick on the white version. We've also got stereo speakers on each side, an S Pen slot that holds the S Pen or stylus, as well as power and volume buttons. A 3.5mm jack is on this side over here. Sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit here, but trust me, these are all on it, as well as a micro USB 3.0 multifunction port on the bottom, an IR blaster on the top, a micro SD card slot on the side that supports up to 64 gigs, and that memory supplements the 64 gigs of internal memory that is built into this tablet. The tablet's got 3 gigs of RAM and is powered by Samsung's octa-core Exynos 5 processor, and unlike the phone versions of their octa-core, it actually uses all 8 cores at a time for like better multitasking and stuff. Yeah. The ARM CPU combines a quad-core 1.9 GHz A15 chip with a 1.3 GHz A7 quad-core, and yeah, that gives you a lot of gigahertz and a lot of cores. So Samsung has advertised up to 13 hours of battery life on their 9,500 milliamp hour battery, mostly due to the power savings implementations that they've done and the ability of it to run just the A7 when it's doing less intensive tasks like browsing the web or emailing, and then its ability to kick in those other cores when you actually need all the horses. All right, so let's move on to the Tab Pro. The resolution is the same as the Note Pro, 2560 by 1600 in a 10.1-inch form factor. That is 298 pixels per inch, which is higher than the Retina iPad's 264. The ports on the outside are pretty much the same. So right side, you got your micro SD, you got a stereo speaker. Top, you got an IR blaster, you got volume and power. And then on the left side, you've got a headphone jack, another stereo speaker. And on the bottom, yes, this is where it's different. This is a USB 2.0 port instead of a USB 3.0 port. As far as the internals are concerned, the processor is the same, except that it is paired with 2 gigs of RAM and a 32 gigabyte internal storage drive instead of 64 gigs. The battery also gets slimmed down to a mere 8220 milliamp hours, which is still pretty darn good for a 10.1-inch tablet. Now enough of these numbers. Let's talk about what makes these tablets different. And that it comes back to that Pro designation. It is designed with productivity in mind for professionals with a proficiency in production of produce. No, probably the produce part was not true, but the rest of it was mostly applicable. I was ad-libbing there. Or at least as much as you can do when you're using a tablet instead of a notebook. For the Note, the pen is obviously the main attraction, and like older Note devices, the S Pen allows for quick access to everything you might need. That is memo, scrapbook, screenshotting, and then marking them up so that you can quickly send them to people, and much more. But if you don't like pen input, obviously, you can expand it if you want. So it has full support for Bluetooth 4.0 devices like keyboards and mouse. So you can actually get pretty darn near notebook functionality out of the thing with a nice little stand and a keyboard and mouse, except that it is, of course, this slim whenever you don't want to use a keyboard and mouse. There's also an available dongle that provides an Ethernet port for wired networking and 2 full-size USB ports for whatever else you might need to hook up to it. As far as bundled applications go, Samsung has taken the time to really push the professional features for these two tablets. They allow up to 4 apps to be run simultaneously in each of the quadrants of the screen. That basically gives you an HD resolution subscreen, 1280 by 720 subscreen for each of your applications, although you can resize them as needed. That's something that is seriously lacking in stock Android flavors, and Samsung has put a ton of work into making multitasking a big focus for this. For the business users, they've also given it some other thought as well. There is remote PC functionality, so you can use this tablet to control your keyboard and mouse and transfer files between it and your PC. And then another cool application that we actually got running here, whoops, is the e-meeting application. So you run it on this one, and you can have up to, I believe it's, 11 devices ad hoc, or 20 if you're all on the same Wi-Fi network, and all you have to do is go like this, and you can like draw on this one, and you can like cross out NCIX being greater than LTT, and boom, it just showed up on this one at the same time. So it's great as a little collaborative whiteboard. They've also bundled Cisco WEBEX functionality, so that is an even more powerful meeting tool that includes teleconferencing, cloud storage, and other powerful enterprise online meeting tools. I use it all the time personally. It's actually fantastic. And then for your document processing needs, they have bundled HANCOM Office, which might have a bit of a weird name, but don't worry too much about that because the functionality is actually pretty darn cool. So it has near perfect compatibility with Word, Excel, and PowerPoint formats, and is available and works in 42 languages. So you can drag and drop words, objects, and images between apps when using the multi-window drag and drop. You've got all this Office functionality, and because it's Samsung and they've got their KNOX security implementation, you can actually use this at workplaces that support it as a bring your own device. So you can lock away behind 256-bit encryption all of the important, your VPN and your email and calendar and contacts, all the work stuff, and then you can use it separately for all your home stuff, and your work people won't have access to your home stuff, and your home people or your homeboys, who are just like using your tablet and they're like, oh, what's this? Can I order 100,000 of these? They won't have access to your work stuff either. The last thing that we want to show you guys is Samsung's Galaxy interoperability. SIDESYNC 3.0 lets you control your phone with your tablet. Screen mirroring lets you put whatever's on your device right onto your Samsung Smart TV. And that pretty much does it for this episode. Comment below and tell us, would you get this plus a keyboard and mouse over an Ultrabook? Or would you prefer an Ultrabook? Why would you make the choice that you would? Finally, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this from NCIX.com.